A lot to share. So first, I want to dive into Peru, and I want
Yes.
people to understand, like, you know, the essence of going away because we're in New York City, so people they don't think about going to a mountain like you've done, going on retreats,
Yes.
and how good it is for our soul, especially if you live in New York. Like people think they got to go to a casino and that's a vacation, but like you're in a casino with that
Mm,
that's not helping your
exactly.
core, your sound. So if you can give us like a synopsis of like what people would achieve by doing the vacation that you had, because I saw all your pictures on Instagram. It was so lovely, the traveling that you've done. So just give us a
Yes.
synopsis of what it's like to go away on a vacation like you to the mountainsides and the valleys of Peru.
Yes. So I guess it will help if I give a little bit of context why I do this type of trips. I was born in Peru, and so I do go back once a year, every 1 year and a half. But in the past maybe 2 years, I started feeling a great connection with the mountains, the Andes that go through Peru. And so when I go back to Lima to see my family, that's where they live, I find time to reconnect with the Mother Earth, which in Peru we call Pachamama. Pacha means earth, mama, mother. So it's Pachamama in the Quechua language of the ancient people in Peru. And for me, it's extremely important to reconnect with the Andes, the mountains, which are called the Apus, Mother Earth, just ground myself because, as you said, New York City has a very interesting energy.
Mhm.
Not that is good or bad, it's just a lot. There's a lot of people, a lot of businesses, and I work with people. So to me, to retreat myself and just be on my own in silence or in a retreat, it's just very, very fulfilling. I usually take my time to integrate what I believed. It doesn't matter if I see clients, but something that a lot of people don't know is that we keep doing our own work. So I
Mhm.
do also continue my inner healing, my inner path. So sometimes if you've been doing quite a lot of work, at least for me, it's really interesting to go on my own and just integrate all the knowledge, all the downloads, everything that I have received.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's why to me it's just part of my life now, I think. And also last year, I don't know if I told you this, Joey, last year I went to a plant medicine retreat in Peru
Wow.
in August. And so that also is almost like helped me embrace even more this intuitive willingness of going back to the Andes because on my own, I was already perceiving that I needed to go connect with my roots in Peru because I left 12 years ago. And yeah, it's like, yeah, that's where I was from. That's where my family lives.
But it goes deeper than
Uh,
that.
but now, yeah, it goes deeper than that. And when I did plant medicine and connected with the sacred plants, that was a very strong message for me. Like you have to connect with your land again, with your ancestors. So yeah, so I'm just following my heart, I guess.
So is there a website for this? So if somebody wants to do what you did, go to a you said plant energy retreat, right?
Plant medicine.
Plant medicine retreat.
So yeah, so yeah, so I went to Apple Healing Center in Peru. I can share there on social media. You can contact them and have like a free intro call. So they will explain to you, what it is that they do. They offer different type of retreats. It's not the only the one that I did. The one that I did, it was about 8 days, 7 nights, I'm pretty sure. And they have different offerings. So, and that's for free. They can just call them. We'll have a video call and find out more.
Do they have a name? What's the name of the company?
Apu Healing,
Oh,
APU Healing.
APU. Oh, okay. Great, 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 great.
I was so inspired by the surroundings, just quiet, interesting. This was my very, very first trip completely on my own. I usually travel with, my husband or friends,
Yeah.
but this was completely on my own. And I loved it. And there was no many people in the center, the hotel that I stayed. It was a huge area with little cabanas, super peaceful, no electricity in the evenings. So
Oh,
you have to walk with candles. So, oh, your phone if you wanted
wait,
to, but I chose
you're
not
walking at night with candles? Why are you guys walking?
because the place is it's I wouldn't say it's a hotel. It's more like a place. It's a big area, all full of trees, eucalyptus trees facing the
Oh,
mountains,
oh,
and
okay.
then you stay in little cabanas, like
Okay.
little houses within
Mm-hmm.
this area. And so they provide you with breakfast and dinner, but it's in a area, right? You have to walk to the main building to
And you
have
go through
your
like
meals.
you go through like a foresty area?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it foresty, but it's like, grass, beautiful trees everywhere, little path. So, and because they
Oh,
don't have electricity, they have like some lights on the floor so you see your path. But once you arrive to your cabana or you want to go to have dinner, you have to bring your candle or your headlight or
that's
something like that.
cool.
Yeah, so it really, and there's no Wi-Fi in the cabanas. If you want to work or connect to Wi-Fi, you have to go to the main building where you have dinner and breakfast and all that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they have Wi-Fi. So it almost like it invites you to disconnect, right? It invites you to connect with nature, to see the mountains, to just be with your own thoughts and yeah, enjoy it. So I loved it. I discovered this place, it crossed my path, and now I'm like, cannot wait to go back again another time.
Wow. So tell everyone, so like, how did you feel before when you left New York, like your whole body, and then how did you feel like at the end of your trip in Peru? Like, how was your senses? How was your feeling inside?
Mm. So when I left New York, I mean, I was going to see my family, so it was like a little at first vacation, but then that vacation became a retreat for myself,
Hmm.
right within that time. And I just felt a sense of peace and freedom because, you just basically connected with your own true nature, your own true essence, which
Okay.
is basically Mother Earth. We are the reflection of Mother Earth. We have water in our bodies, we have tears and sweat and fluids, we have fire. There is the soul, the spirits that make us get up every morning. We are earth, we have a body, we have everything, air as well. We're breathing. So, which is something that people forget. We think that we need to, be at the beach or be, meditating to be able to recognize that we are one with nature, when
Yeah.
in reality we're always connected. There was this connection lives within the human mind. It's just this illusion that we are separated, when in reality we are not. We are all one.
Yeah, I just remember like yesterday when I was a little kid that my mother bought me a Nintendo gaming system and I was like so addicted to playing the game Mario. And I would play for like 6 hours straight. And then I would tell myself, I'm like, now it's time to like get to know me again because it's like the video gaming was like the phone and you're
Mm,
totally checked out of who Joe is. And then
yeah,
when you cut that loose, you go back to like getting to know yourself. What do you like? It's like you're literally like befriending yourself again when you just cut off all of like, the technology. Like that's how you felt
yeah.
like after the trip you had with with the domes that you stayed in, no electricity, like you reconnected with Vanessa again, like you got to know you and what you like and
Yeah, well, it's I went back again to see family. So I feel like it's something that I needed to just be on my own for a
yeah,
while,
yeah,
to just do, be with my thoughts, recognize myself again,
yeah.
integrate what I want to do in the new year, because I was there in January. So it's interesting. It's February, but to me, it's almost like now my year is starting. Um, so yeah, it's something that I really embrace and treasure the time to just, it's almost like a reset. It's almost like, it's like, okay, this is what the year, last year happened. This is what I've done. What
Mhm.
do I want to do now? How do I want to change or transform?
Yeah, that's how I always feel when I come back from vacation. My brain starts like you just feel like you're a different person with a different mindset, like you
Yes.
erased that, because we think through our stress. We think through our anxiety. We think through our
Mm-hmm.
pressure. So you always want to reassess your future in a good organic soul, a good organic grounded body, and now
Yeah.
you're back and now these decisions you're going to make now are a lot more better than maybe when before you left New York,
Oh, for
like,
sure. For
so
sure. And I agree with what you said about this stress mind or anxiety and everything that, the everyday, it's almost like a buildup for a lot of people, it's like
you
you're playing
pound
so
it
many
down.
roles, you're like the worker and the father and the friend and
And the wife.
and the wife and the husband and all these roles and labels that we carry every day, doing our things. And so when you finally silence all that, it's like what you just said, recognize who is Joey, who is Vanessa, it's like, I'm not this role, I'm not this husband or wife or worker. It's almost like I like those spaces of silence because it almost like you go back to yourself. It's like, okay, wait a second, I've just been in this bubble of stress for quite a while, or this bubble of never ending task on your day. And then when you retreat to yourself, you're like, wait a second, that's not me. This is just what I do. This is what the experiences that I have. But who
Yeah.
I am as a person, as an individual, is just completely different. And sometimes we forget that. We become distressed, right? Because we think that
Yeah.
is us. But in reality, it's just once you learn how to detach of that, that's when it becomes a lot clearer.
My father got into like the tribal people. He loves like tribal stuff, Amazon jungle, tribal people. And these
Okay.
guys, these guys are amazing. They cut a tree, they take the poison sap off a tree, they put it on a dart, completely naked in the jungle. They kill a
Uh-huh.
squirrel, they climb up, they bring the squirrel down, and you're like, I'm so far from that. Like our brains are so far from that, but that's who we really are. Like these,
Yes.
if we stood with these people for a year, we would see how much we are that. But
Mm-hmm.
we get so like the horses in Central Park. We get so like gotta make
Mm-hmm.
money, especially with social media. Gotta make money. Who has a twenty
Oh, for
million dollar
sure.
house? Who's more richer? And you get sucked in that you forget the big picture. Like like you say, we're part of nature. We're part of the earth. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we need to do organic things, swim in the lake,
Yeah.
get time with feeling things when we eat, and look at some trees. So yeah, yeah, I'm there. I need a vacation soon.
Right.
My, but see, but then it goes back to the beginning of our conversation where you went away, you had your moment in the mountains,
Mm-hmm.
and that will help you see those moments. If you get stuck here or you go to Las Vegas and you play slot machine, you're never gonna have a out of body moment to actually see the different what's happening for real. Like you say, oh, he gets mad this morning. I get mad with him, and we're stuck in the dance back and forth. But when you come back, you came back from Peru. When people go away and they start doing things that help nourish your body and help
Mm-hmm.
the energy of ourselves, a true vacation. That's like to me a true vacation. Walk in the
Yeah.
mountains, walk barefoot. Then you come back, and maybe there's a chance that you can see, like my father, he got mad. I touched his stuff and you could see why. You could see why he was
Mm-hmm.
put here, why he's in my life now. What happened? My mom had a curtain in front of him, now the curtain's unveiled. You can't see all that when you're like the horses in
For
Central Park.
sure. Yeah. And essentially, going to Vegas, this doesn't mean that it's wrong. Some people,
No,
it's just
no,
their
no,
own
no, of
life and
course.
their process,
Mm-hmm.
and but it's just distractions for the mind.
Yeah. And for
The
the body.
mind likes to be distracted from the phone to the TV to
Yeah.
Vegas to a party
Yeah.
to friends and whatever you choose to do with your life. Basically it's just distractions, because the more distracted you are, the less time you have to be with your own thoughts. And a lot of people are very scared to be on their own thoughts. Like there's some studies that you can find on YouTube of people that were put in a room with no phone, with nothing,
And they go
just
crazy.
in a chair.
Yeah.
And some people go crazy. They cannot be, in their own, closing their eyes, just silent for like 5 minutes. They just like,
Yeah.
they can't. and that's the mind that is just hard.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a process. I was never born this way. Like,
Mhm.
I had my own journey of, I
Yeah.
was back when I lived in Australia, I had an extremely busy social life. I was super busy from 5:45 that I used to go to the gym, then to fashion industry, all the way to 8 p.m., then dinner, and then weekends. It was
Like a
exhausting, but I
robot,
could
right?
not, yeah, I could not see that it was exhausting until the pandemic hit. And I was like, oh my God. To me, the pandemic was what triggered my own awakening and more
Uh,
things that were happening around that time. But it was when I realized I was playing this character that it was not even me. I was like, who is this girl?
what do
This
you
is
think
not
you, why
me.
do you think you did that for? Were you hiding?
But
Why do you think
I
you
th-
did that?
I think I think I was working towards expectations of society, family, my own expectations of
Unrelenting
being the
standards?
perfect standards that I needed to be this way. And that's why when Mark and I, my husband and I, we couldn't take the next bulk of having children. That was the
Mhm.
first step to me of like, who is this character that I thought it was perfect? She cannot be perfect anymore. That was the
And you
first,
couldn't control that
right?
anymore. Like
I
you were the
couldn't
problems.
control.
Yeah, you were the problem solver. We
Yeah.
can't figure this out. I got it. I work day and night to figure it out. Now you get put in the face like you can't figure this out. This
Yeah,
is
and the
your
worst
body.
things, I mean, no worse, but the fascinating thing that I can now see it, that doctors were saying to us, it is a mystery. And the word mystery is like, it's not that they told me, oh, your body has this thing, or this is what
Oh
happened, as so,
wow.
an
Oh
answer. It was just
yeah.
mystery. That's nothing. It's like, what you mean in a mystery? It's
You're like,
like,
I
tell
have
me
to know. I
what.
can research it. Give me a
Yes,
word. I'll go home. I'll Google it for 3 hours.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so because that was me. I was a high achiever, ticking all the boxes, the great husband, the great life, and that's why I was a social butterfly, because it was part of this character that I created, being perfect, working in fashion, always, nice looking and all that. And then this happens, and then the pandemic happened that we needed to
Yeah.
be at home. And that the interesting was that when I was finally at home, I realized that I was exhausted. I was like, to me, it was a relief. It was like, oh my God, finally, I don't have to put on these clothes. I don't have to show up to these people. I was like, I can read what I want. I can do what I want. I'm finally connecting with myself. And
Because
that
you
was my trigger.
Yeah, because you slowed down enough to actually connect with your own body and to get to know
Mm,
Vanessa again. And that was
yes.
your way out. Like why you think people don't shouldn't be using phones and should be taking walks in trails and going vacation in mountainsides or wherever else they feel comfortable and get to know the
Mhm.
person because you rediscover what you need. Like you rediscovered yourself during COVID. You got to know Vanessa again and you got to think it through. You had quiet time for yourself and your husband, and you really got to say,
Yes,
who is this
totally.
person? What do I need? And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and
very
then
cool.
it's a long journey. It's been like quite a while for me. It started around 2019, but just to circle back in here, people that usually are distracted is because their mind is really loud. It's like the thoughts are very loud. They're like the mind is always screaming, I want this, let's go here, let's do this. It's like a multitasking when the soul and your body is like a whisper. It's quiet, it's calm. Intuition is just very, very it's almost like this little breeze, around, just nice and slow. So if then you have this mind that is always loud, I mean, people are never going to be able to listen to their own intuition.
Yeah,
Sometimes people tell me, oh, I don't have intuition. I don't feel anything. And it's like, everyone has it. It's just because it's just so little at the moment because your mind is so strong. But when you start reducing this volume, and then you will reach a point that literally you will start receiving the messages, you will start perceiving your intuition. But it's a process, right? If your mind is here,
yeah,
wow, the other one is like basically zero volume. Can't hear
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
And
For
then so it's a process.
for me, what keeps my trigger going with using my phone and keeping me out of my own self is my
Hmm.
overachieving. So here's the scenario. So I used to take a lot of walks when it's warmer in New York, and that gets me recentered. Um, I took a lot of vacations, which I haven't done. That's number two that I can't do because it's cold. I haven't gone on vacation yet. Number three is, my dad kicks up a lot for me with my past, and he's living with me. Number four is I've taken on more responsibility because my mom had properties that she handled, residential
Hmm.
properties, and now I've taken over the paperwork. So now I have to learn all that stuff. So again, the overachieving is kicking in. I'm like, I give myself a deadline of 1 day to learn everything. I'm like, I gotta learn it today. And my wife always tells me it's time, it's time. So when people in life, when you have all these dynamics working, they all keep you in the middle. They all keep you stuck where you're like
Yeah.
you can't get out of it. My dad's here, my mom passed. I'm really like really using my phone a lot more now because I really want to distract the sadness from my mom surprisingly passing. So I'm using my phone even more now. So, my way out is either taking a walk or going on vacation. And
Hmm.
I say all this because with people, if you find yourself that you're stuck, it's because you have so many parameters that is dancing around you that's keeping you in the middle. Like what happened with you with your fashion world. You want to overachieve, and there's one little thing that lights like a match that lights it all up. For me, it's the overachieving. If I just tell myself, my wife tells me all the time, the stuff will get done tomorrow. I don't listen.
Hmm.
My brain, gotta get done. I gotta get done. Like right now, I got a whole bunch of stuff to do, and now I'm taking my dad to a bunch of doctors because I don't know what he's like a stray cat. I don't even know what he has. Like I don't know anything about him. Like I just gotta really see for myself because my mom didn't speak good English. He didn't speak good English. So I want to take him now. I'm gonna take him to a podiatrist. I've taken him to a hearing doctor. So my brain is always I could be all day doing stuff, nonstop.
Yeah.
But now that's the whole trick people have to understand is that what are you doing for you? Like what are you doing for your
Hmm.
body to nurture you?
Yeah.
What does Joey need right now? And we forget that, we're like, forget about Joey. And the abuse I'm giving myself now is I almost want to cry. It's so bad. I'm really abusing my own body and it's trapping and I just got to find a way out. I got to find a way to
Hmm.
get out of this because it's heavy. I'm a little lost in my head with my mom and all this stuff. So, but that's the thing with life, you get challenges and you figure them out and you get so much better
Hmm.
from it. You wake up and you figure out and you grow to the next level. So,
Yeah. Yeah. But maybe it's just too much pressure that you're putting on yourself as well. I need to learn this in 1 day. And I
yeah.
see myself, I was, at some point in my life, I was, because you're used to achieving things, when something is taking you longer than what you expect of yourself,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I'm not achieving anything. You already, go down because it's like,
Mhm,
I don't know
mhm,
how to do it. I've never done it. It's
mhm.
too hard.
Yeah,
All these stories start
yeah.
playing when let's be honest, no one can learn things in 1 day. I mean, you need,
Time.
progress little by
Yeah,
little, and then eventually in like maybe a couple of weeks or a couple of months, you'll be like, I know how to do it now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like when people come to me and say, oh, Vanessa, I tried to meditate, this is not for me. And I ask, how many times did you try, or for how long? And they say, oh, I tried for like a week. And I'm like, man, no one have learned to meditate in a week. How
Yeah,
long did it take you to learn how to write?
yeah,
Years of practice every single day. It was so
yeah.
boring at first, so hard, until eventually it became second nature. The same, an instrument. Now I'm learning to play the guitar, and it's very hard. It's not easy. So,
But it's okay.
but it's okay. But I find that it's like my mindful moment now. I really enjoy it because my mind is just
Mm,
trying to learn. Is like this
yeah.
beginner's mind of like allowing myself to be really bad at it right now. But then, little
But
by
that's
little
the
is
fun,
getting,
right? It's like you're relearning and like when we were kids,
yeah.
right? How much fun was it when we were kids? Everything was new. Everything was fun. You're learning. This is, that's what makes it amazing.
Yeah. And so just by about you feeling, like heavy and things, I wanted to try something that I do for clients that is called the energy facilitation, if you're open to that.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. So basically I ask an open question. You don't have to give me an answer. So how energy works is that a lot of the times people expect a result. You want the answer of whatever problem you have. The interesting thing is that when you look for an answer, you almost cutting the energy flow,
Yeah.
because the energy is flowing, and then you say, oh, but this is what's going to happen. And then what do? You just define the energy that it was open before. So all the probabilities and possibilities that you had before, they disappear, because we just say, oh, but I know what is going to happen. This is what's going to happen because that happened to me last week. So you're like, the universe or whatever you call source energy will say, oh, okay, so that's the expectation. So dear, here you come. That's it. There's no option to change. So when I ask you an open question, I leave it at that, and they just play with the energy and then dissipate the energy using the clearing statement from Access Consciousness. We are just removing layers of layers. And I'll give you an example. I can ask you, Joey, what projections and expectations of judgments that you had about your parents when you were kids that is not allowing the energy of Joey as an adult to change faster? Everything that is, will you be willing to destroy and uncreate?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good and bad, put and poke, all nine short, boys, poets, and beyonds. So that crazy phrase is the clearing statement of Access Consciousness. It basically works as bypassing your conscious mind to play with the energy and dissipate the charge that is around the question that I just made for you.
Okay.
So when I do see clients that these are virtual sessions, we just work with energy that way. So then something will come up, and then I ask another question, similar, different question, and I just keep clearing the energy, keep clearing the energy. Because sometimes it's just a charge that doesn't allow you to see forward. Like when you said, oh, well, last week I tried to learn about real estate and I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then it's like 1 week later, and then you're like, I still cannot learn anything. But what if I tell you, instead of being like in this energy of heaviness, because like I cannot learn, you just saying, I cannot learn. What if you say, what are the possibilities that today I learned more than last week? So it's a completely different energy. You're open to possibilities to what I'm going to be learning today. It's going to be more than last week.
Good. That's good.
So it's already shifting the heaviness that you had about, I cannot learn.
It repeats over and over. Yep.
Yeah, is the story, right? The mind. To what are the possibilities for today to be different?
Yeah.
About real estate, about my parents, about whatever.
Yep.
So it's just a shift in your consciousness. So when you start practicing open questions like that, it's almost like you start seeing reality in a different way. And that's why I always say Access Consciousness, learning about that really shifted my consciousness, helped me so much to change the way I was seeing everything.
Yep.
It worked so much on me that I then became a facilitator. And well, I see clients, but I also teach the technique.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's probably what it is. I think I'm doing it to myself. I know I'm doing it to myself by repeating the same thing over and over, where, the overachieving, because my mom had something with me. I don't know what it was, but even from a young child, I would paint, and if I touched the framing of a door while I'm painting the wall, she would tell me to stop and let my brother take over. And then my brother would yell at me, going, "You can't do anything right." He kind of worked with her, like they kind of had the same mindset. So when I would paint, I would get so worried about a mistake, and that's the stuff that I have to work on with little Joey, where telling little Joey in the picture, mistakes are okay, because I'm not there yet. I'm still talking to little Joey, so I think that's feeding it, So I need to talk to little Joey and say, mistakes are okay. If you messed up with your mom, there's nothing wrong with you. That I think you made me realize that. Yeah, that's what's still alive inside me, and that's what's keeping the fire on high in my brain. She gave me these properties. I don't know what I'm doing. I shouldn't be doing this. My brother should take over. That's the little boy inside that's like telling me that. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you like to change that
Yes.
energy?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good and bad, put and poke, all nine short, both poets and beyonds. So that's how, it just brings a memory and then we destroy the energy. And I say the clear statement. So it's just almost like it keeps dissipating. Comes something else.
Yeah.
I say, will you be willing to let that go? Yes. So then because your willingness is, yes, I want to change. And then we dissipate the energy. So it's almost like peeling something or going layer by layer or getting the golden key to open a new door, you
Mm,
know?
mm,
Yeah.
wow. Thank you. I didn't know I
It's
was gonna get some
fascinating.
therapy today. Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's really fascinating how you can just start seeing with different eyes. Like you were saying that it's almost like you change the way you see things around you.
I learned it because as a kid I had to. It was a form of protection, because I asked my mom over and over, help me. Kids are bullying me. She would say, what did you do wrong with them? I remember going into my living room from my bedroom, wanted to tell my mom, like, this is after 6 times of telling her the same thing, and she rejected my help, or she would blame me. And I remember going to her living room and I was about to tell her this kid is bullying me. I turned around and I said, let me go back because she's going to make me feel worse. So I became very, even until now, I became, because the little Joey, remember we talked about little Joey is afraid
Hmm.
of putting his pureness out there, his true self. So,
Hmm.
like, the Terminator movie when he has the digital eyes. I
Yeah.
analyze. Okay, this guy looks prone to being aggressive. This guy looks like he could be a liar. That's how my brain works. I see everything. I
Hmm.
look at mannerisms. Okay, why did he do that thing with his eye?
Like analyzing, you
Hmm.
know?
It's a
Yeah.
protection that little Joey needs right now until I
Yeah.
heal it. But this is what he needs until further notice.
Yeah, yeah. And that's okay, it's not
Yeah,
work takes like one session.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
sometimes it takes quite a few.
And
Yeah.
that's the thing when I tell people, it's like, yeah, you could push everything down now and be all good and say, oh, no, I don't need therapy. But then when life happens and a family member dies and you're bringing you're bringing your dad here and he doesn't care who you are, he's not respectful of you taking him in, everything kicks up. If I had a
Hmm.
million triggers, I would be a mess right now. I would be a complete mess, So
Yeah.
that's what people don't understand is they need to get help from you or from me before the stuff really hits. Because when it really hits, like what happened to me, you're not going to be able to go to work, even function, because
Hmm.
all that Pandora's box opens and all that stuff comes up.